25 in the stands for this game, watching the likes of James Kelly for Owens, who's now playing at Miami. Jim Larinaga was here last year at that game.
Sure was.
And Joe Reddick at Liberty this year, and Justin Edmonds at Marshall. Here we go. Owens with the first possession of the game, a drive and kick out, and the shot was missed there by Tony Boykins. Scramble for the rebound. Boykins got it back. There were two guys alone underneath. He took it all the way instead and puts Owens up 2-0.
And that's what I was telling you. Tempo and making shots. We're seeing Owens start off in a bit of a 1-2-2-1-1 trap. It's a man-to-man full-court press. Light pressure, not really designed to get steals at this point, just designed to kind of annoy you a little bit.
Both these teams like to run. They also like to play high-pressure defense. Here's Albert trying to maybe create something out of nothing there. And the rebound was pulled down by Gill. Back comes Owens. Bachman from the outside. His shot is no good.
That's the thing, Greg. When you look at what these teams average, they take a high volume of shots. So don't expect them to sit around and set it up in too many sets. They really look to get it done. Now, talking about Albert, last year he ran the point. And he's averaging 30-plus a game this year, so he has that ability to handle the basketball and get to the basket.
We're mindful of John Taylor, who a couple of years ago we saw put on an unbelievable show when Mott played Owens. And then he went on and became the National Player of the Year and D2 leading scorer in the country. That was missed as Albert again tried to lay it over the defender. He couldn't do it. Back in transition for the three-point shot. That was no good by William Abbott, or by John Murray. Put back no good, and the rebound in. And it is Murray following up after missing the original shot.
Well, one of the things you'll notice about Owens, they're very physical. And I told you that at the pregame. You can watch these guys. They really like to get after it.
To the baseline, and it is put in beautifully by Miles Busby. Albert tried to penetrate a couple of times unsuccessfully. Maybe he softened him up a little bit for Busby, and he lays it in.
That's a nice way to finish through the contact by Busby, left-hand finish.
Busby is known as the lockdown defender on this team, but he certainly showed he's got some offensive ability too.
Owens, what I'm noticing, particularly out of Shakir Lindsey, the point guard, he's a pass-first point guard. He likes to penetrate, draw the defense, and kick out to the shooters.
And now they've got some serious pressure on in the backcourt, but they break it nicely. John Murray out for Tony Boykins, and whistle before the shot and a traveling call.
Well, what Mott's doing, when they score, they're getting into that 1-2-1-1 press, and it's designed to force you to get to the corners where they can set up a trap and maybe get a steal.
Marcus Johnson now bringing the ball up. One measurement of the strength of this Mott team is their legendary coach, Steve Schmidt. So legendary that their gym is named after him, and he's still an active coach. He said their second best player isn't a starter. And there is Albert finally succeeding in getting to the basket. And he also said that one of their Division I recruits hardly even gets on the floor.
That's a testament to this program. And I tell you what, guys, if you haven't heard about Mott, there's a lot of other teams that have around the country. Trust me, a lot of Division I guys have come out of this college.
Yeah, 50 of them in the tenure of Steve Schmidt. And there's a blocking foul. Here's a look at Steve Schmidt. He played at Central Michigan. Graduated in '86, and a couple of times he was very prominently mentioned as head coach of that program, but he just ended up staying here at Mott, and he's had a tremendous run of success. 4 national titles, 3 national runner-ups since 2001. And that shot was missed off glass by Gill, and then right back down the other way, and Marcus Johnson lays it in.
No time to celebrate against this Owens team.
Yeah, back they come, and that is canned by Shakir Lindsey, a great prospect from Teaneck, New Jersey, where he was honorable mention All-State and set a career scoring record at Teaneck High School. Led his team to a state record 31-game winning streak on his way to that.
Owens now is in a bit of a 1-3-1 zone.
Changing up defenses. Coach Dave Clark used to coach under Steve Schmidt at Mott. For Owens, that shot was no good by Devin Foster. He's headed for Chicago State. Nice pass, and foul will be called here on Abbott.
Strong move right there, strong move. And that was created by the penetration of Lindsey. So I told you, he has that ability to draw guys. He's low to the ground, keeps his dribble.
And
straight up strong, yeah, that's what you have to do.
Went up strong and didn't get the field goal, but got to the free throw line.
And you know, Greg, that's the theory. People don't understand that when you go, it's not really about how big you are. It's about how strong you take it to the basket. You see, he wasn't cute, took everything right to the glass. He took the foul. You get the foul or the bucket, or you get both.
Good free throw shooter, 78%, but he missed that one. And into the game comes Martez Asbury. They'll run 11 guys in for this Owens team. Asbury out of Detroit. They've got a lot of players from Detroit. They've got several players from north of the border, too. Good free throw shooter, but both were missed there by Boykins. They play practically every player on their bench, does Owens. Mott with about a 9-man rotation. Albert now trying to heat up from outside, no good, and Bachman the rebound. Bachman running it back down. It was stolen from him by Busby, but Owens will maintain possession.
This is why junior college basketball is really good. You get a chance to see that speed, and there are a lot of Division I guys that take this route. So just because it's a junior college, folks, don't think you're not seeing some good basketball. These guys can play.
John Taylor a couple of years ago, he was considered a very viable potential NBA draft choice. He declared for the draft. He wasn't chosen, but he was mentioned by ESPN as a guy who very well could have been. He's playing in the D-League, and guys like Jeremy Lin have gone to become NBA stars from the D-League.
I'm going to throw a name out at you, one of my favorite players ever, a guy by the name of Larry Johnson from Odessa, Texas. Junior College Player of the Year, went on to UNLV, had a great career in the 90s.
And there's an offensive foul on Asbury. Sometimes it comes down to who can channel all of this athleticism and all of this speed into a good team chemistry. And Mott has always been very successful in doing that. When Steve Schmidt came there 23 years ago, they were on the verge of closing the program down. They were a moribund program. And he instilled some discipline into it, much as Jim Welling did when he was here at Owens. Welling won 2 straight national titles at Owens, and they did the same thing at Mott in 07-08, 2 consecutive national titles. Into that, getting to the basket, but again, little out of control, and a foul coming back the other way. But we've seen quite often one player trying to penetrate, 2 guys come up to meet him, and there's just nothing to do.
Well, the gaps close really quick at these levels. You know, these guys are really quick. We see Chester McFadden, the name may be familiar, played at Springfield High School here in the local area.
He's playing for Mott and wearing number 20 on the floor now. He started several games this year. He got a lot of good minutes in as a reserve last season. And of course, he was an NLL scoring champion at Springfield. And you see him there, number 20, coming into the screen. Pass underneath and a tie-up. And the possession arrow. Stay with Owens here. No, we'll go over to Mott.
We're seeing a little bit of this man full court token pressure, just designed to kind of slow you up a little bit.
Here is Marcus Johnson out of Charlotte, North Carolina. His pass off, and there's a great move to the basket. That is Rustin Hayward. He's the guy that Steve Schmidt says probably the second best player in our lineup, but he's not a starter. But come after Thanksgiving, which is, in other words, very quickly, he is going to be a starter and a key man. Nice pass inside. Missed layup, however. Seemed like just a bunny for Kenny Jones. Missed it, but keeps working and gets it anyway.
Well, Owens is doing a good job early on, at least getting second shots, attacking the glass, get some offensive rebounds.
Knocked away from McFadden. Back comes Owens in transition, and it was thrown up by Jamal Reynolds. No good. That was not a good percentage shot. Right back the other way, and well, you can see what he saw in Rustin Hayward. And Malik Albert might have some competition for the best player on the team coming up here.
No, Hayward, he comes in, he's looking to score. You can tell that immediately. He attacks with aggression.
Kick out for 3. No good by Edmund Early Jr. He's one of the top players for Owens. Back they come the other way, and a pass on a 2-on-1, and Malik Albert will get to the free throw line. They get up and down this floor with lightning speed.
Let's take a look at the pass right here, though. One dribble, nice bounce pass. That's tough.
2 passes, and the next thing you know, you got a layup.
Well, you got to get back on defense.
The floor.
You can't play around if you're either team. You don't have time to celebrate. You got to get right back, find your guy, go to the paint, Probably when you're playing a team that goes so hard in transition, you have to go what we call from the inside out, Greg. You go down to the paint, find your guy on the outside.
Albert missed the first free throw last year. Mott was 31-5, but they lost to Central Nebraska in the first round of the national tournament. It was the first time since 2001 that they did not advance to the Final Four in the national tournament. And Albert, you can take a seat there, and there's Coach Schmidt, just the best coaches you're going to find at any level.
He's intense, too. If you watch him, that guy doesn't sit down at all.
And Dave Clark is like that. If you watch the two coaches, they look totally different, but they're very similar with their mannerisms. And Clark got that largely from Schmidt. Out it comes, pass out on the right, over to Chase Krager, who's running the point now for Mott. Guarded very aggressively by Marquise Allen. The ball loose on the floor.
Nice.
Picked up beautifully by Gill, and sailing in using his athleticism, Edmund Early to drop it home. He's already been offered by UIC, and he really showed that athletic abilities. He just sailed in for that layup. Great play by Gill to turn it over and get the ball to him.
See, these guys are hungry at this level. These guys are trying to play somewhere. So when you see these sophomores and freshmen, they're here for a reason.
And a foul call here on John Murray for Owens. That'll be their third team foul. And Chase Krager will inbound the ball. Finds a wide open player underneath, but the layup was missed as Lorenzo Collier was right under the basket. And if he tried to come out, he would have been rejected. Owens could tie or take the lead with a three-point possession. Lindsay, a kick out. They're going for that lead, but that shot is offline by Early and rebounded by Collier. Pass up for McFadden. He managed to stay in bounds.
What's keeping Owens in this game really is their second shot opportunities. They're not doing a good job at least knocking down those initial shots from the right side corner.
Collier having some real trouble. And he forced him to turn the ball over.
Winning our guy Malik Albert, he's coming back in the game.
Yeah, he had a feeling that he wasn't going to be out for long. Iowa State has been very interested in him. They're very likely to have someone in attendance here tonight. The word on him is that he is a mid-major or higher prospect, with the emphasis on the or higher.
Well, you know what, I think...
Bachman, no, just short.
Just kind of looking at him from a physical standpoint, very quick, but he's going to have to put a little weight on to play at that next level. Guys are really strong.
Yeah, Taylor was like 165 pounds. He was the same kind of guy. Albert seems to be more of a guy who goes to the basket. Of course, he's got that 31 points. Taylor was a great scorer too, but he was more of a distributor. He came in, Owens was leading by about 10 points 10 minutes into the game. He sat out the first 10 minutes, and then it just totally turned the game around when he just stepped on the floor, John Taylor, 2 years ago.
He played at St. John's, correct?
And that was laid in. He was a Chicago area guy, I think.
Okay, I'm thinking of I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Laid in, and at the line will be number 23, Jamal Reynolds, trying to finish a three-point play.
You know what? Mott does a good job of finishing through contact. You can tell they drill that. This is the second and one opportunity we saw.
Jamal Reynolds, he will be playing at Canisius next year in the Division I level, and he probably gets fewer minutes than anyone on this team, just to show how deep they are. And sometimes those D1 teams are looking for physical attributes and tools.
Yeah.
And a reverse layup and a nice play by Tony Boykins off good ball distribution. Someone you might look and say, this guy has the physical attributes we're looking for. We'll try to mold him into the kind of player we want when we get him on our campus.
For sure. I mean, understand this too. A lot of guys probably had some looks coming out of high school.
McFadden drills it from outside. He became a great outside shooter during his years at Springfield, and that was a sweet look. And then we got a 30-second timeout on the floor here with 11:17 to go in the first half. And Mott leading by a score of 18-12. And a reminder that ordering a DVD from BCSN is now easier and quicker than ever. You can log on to BCSN store to browse your favorite games and make online purchases. Visit bcsn.tv and start shopping now. We were talking about the great games that we've had over the past year, which we do every year, and we're starting to think seriously about the best games we've had over the last 10 years. As nearing our 10-year anniversary. And
yeah, you and I were talking about some good ones.
Yeah.
I think fans are really going to appreciate these games.
And they're still all available in our BCSN store. Driving, Lindsay, neat dish, but Gill couldn't drop it in. A strong rebound under there by Rustin Hayward. I like him more and more, everything he does. Good physical presence under the basket. And
Gary, you don't see that call much.
Yeah, what was that
nowadays.
signal?
Yeah. That was got a little demonstrative.
Well, I'm all ears. What was it?
It was Gary turning over.
Oh, that's what it,
Wow.
That was a different kind of motion there.
Yeah, he just exaggerated a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much anything goes anymore, especially at a level like this. Layup no good. Gill fighting for it. That shot got changed. Another rebound and layup no good by Asbury, and they butt it back up hard again and finally draw a foul.
And you know what? I love the officiating right now. These guys, they're letting these guys play. If you're going to go in there not strong, they're not going to call it. That's how it should be done.
You see a lot of tough physical work going on in there, too. They're hitting the boards hard on both sides. Bachman, a great shooter out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Of course, anytime you're a top player in Indiana, he was first team all-area, played in a prestigious Indiana top 100 game. Mullins Showcase junior college players.
And see, that's my point. A lot of these guys coming out of high school, they had some looks. Now, they may have had some grade issues or some other things, but coaches are still looking at these guys. You know, you get a second chance when you go to a junior college.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who watched Hoop Dreams, they know that you go to JC because you get a chance to play a couple of years,
Develop,
possibly D1.
get stronger, yeah.
And here is Lindsay bursting through two guys. What an athletic play, but he couldn't finish it. Snatched the rebound in there, though. Back out for Bachman for an open shot. No good again. And Lindsay, another rebound. And this time he gave it right away, though, to Boykins. Or I should say to Romano, Matt Romano.
He got trapped in the air on that. Oh, nice.
Pass inside. That was picked off by Gill. That time a good pass again as Lindsay got it ahead to Boykins to lay it home, and they're back within 2 points. 30-second timeout again here by Mott. And I'll tell you, some real good energy on the floor there by Shakir Lindsay. 2 times down the floor, and he didn't pout about that turnover. He came back and made a great play the next time.
You don't have time to, Ray. And I tell you what, this is what you like about this basketball at this level. Most teams play 11 guys. So can you imagine how competitive practices are? These guys are going after each other. That's why they're so prepared for the physical play and everything else.
See Dave Clark there. Trivia question. Who's the only guy to have won a MAC championship at both Bowling Green and Toledo? The answer is right there. That gentleman, Dave Clark, he was the head of basketball operations at UT under Stan Joplin. They won a MAC title, and then he went on to Bowling Green, and he was director of basketball operations under Lewis Orr, and they won a MAC title at Bowling Green.
Well, I'm glad you said the answer, because I actually started thinking about it, and I didn't know.
That is quite a claim to fame. And in between, he was with Steve Schmidt at Mott. Talk about great apprenticeships.
Oh, yeah.
He said he learned an awful lot about how to deal with players and strategy from the likes of those gentlemen. And kick out. 3-pointer on the way, no good by Devin Foster, and Owens can take the lead again here. They've been trailing but nipping at Mott's heels the whole game. Boykin a layoff, and they can't lay it in. They've missed a few layups. Antoine Benford missed that one. Back they come. Albert, there's no time to say anything. Right back, he missed, rebound Benford.
I was going to say, Owens, I think they're expecting the contact now. You just have to take it strong to the rack. That's why they're missing so many layups.
Lindsay, a no-look pass went to the official, but the whistle already gone. And a foul called on Marcus Johnson.
I tell you what, though, I really like how this game is being played. I love the up-tempo stuff. I love to see guys get out and use that athleticism.
This is definitely a track meet out here with a lot of skill thrown in. And couldn't get the ball inbound. So good defense there by Mott. Dave Clark once again sending in substitutions. And the tempo they play, they really have to do that because otherwise your tongues are going to be dragging. Marquise Allen in, second assists on the team last year behind Joe Reddick, who's now playing D1 at Liberty, and now he's inherited that point guard role. Albert.
See, Albert's real crafty. He can dribble either hand and drive on either side, too. Wow.
Oh, nice crossover dribble, whip pass out for a wide open look, and drained by Marcus Johnson.
He had to finish that. That was too nice of a move.
Early for Devondre Peoples, 6'6". He's a great defender, a great dunker, and a great physical presence on the team, number 15. Marquise Allen with some nifty dribbling. Outside shot, no good by Peoples. And Owens has yet to really find the range from the perimeter.
As bad as they're shooting, they'll only be down by 5. I mean, they're getting pretty lucky, but they have to convert some of those layups.
Trying to heat up, shot, trying to draw the foul too as Johnson. It came up short. Back they come the other way, and lots of contact there. And they called it offensive on Tony Boykins.
A little bit of out of control here. Let's see.
Boy, I don't know. He just stepped right in there. I was anticipating the block call there, especially with the restricted area and everything.
Yeah. But you gotta like.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. I like rewarding the defensive guy. Although I don't think he was really set on that particular play, and I don't think that Boykins thinks he was either. He's about a foot taller than Earl Boykins was. Mid-American Conference and an outstanding career in the NBA too.
5'5".
Yeah.
And that was being generous.
Yeah, very generous. I'd say more like 5'3". Underneath.
But you know what they say about him? They say pound for pound, he was one of the strongest guys in the NBA.
He's got a lot fewer pounds, but yeah, relatively speaking.
Still, though, that guy they say he can throw up a lot of weight. I mean, think about it. He used to get his shot off in the NBA against tall guys. That's tough.
Yeah, no doubt. And proof that the little guy can, that the real little guy can still play this game, which is always refreshing. Rustin Hayward to the free throw line out of Houston, Texas. And he is really, quite honestly, I think to this point in the game, he's been the most impressive of anyone we've seen. And
he's really hating this weather too, probably coming down from Texas.
He was at a couple of schools and didn't work out at those schools. Now he's at Mott, looking for another opportunity, which he's very likely going to get. Driving, couldn't be finished by Early, but then put through by Gill on the follow.
And that's been Owens' best offense, honestly. Getting second shots, offensive rebounding.
Gill was all provincial in Ontario, out of Mississauga, near Toronto. Last year he played at Mobley Area Community College. And the shot is up and good. And he was one of the guys that Dave Clark was saying is a real key acquisition for them as he transferred in. When they lost such great talent, 3 Division I players from the Owens team last year that came about as close as you can come. They lost in overtime to the team that ultimately won the national championship in the national quarterfinal. That's how close Owens came to winning a national title last year. They were ranked as high as 5th at various points in the year.
But think about it. I mean, he's 6'8", so you get a guy with that type of size to help your interior. That's always a welcomed addition.
Miles Busby scoring there, making it a 4-point Mott lead. Here is Early for Marquise Allen, then outside to Bachman. That's his shot. They just haven't been able to hit from out there, and none of the Owens players have. But as you said, they're still within 4. And an easy block by Gill, as he said, get that thing out of there, as Marcus Johnson tried to challenge him. And there's what we're talking about, 0 for 9 from three-point range.
And that's what I was talking about when I said earlier it's going to come down to making shots. I mean, obviously, Owens, their best offense really has been deep offensive rebound.
And what that stat tells you is Owens would be ahead if they were shooting even reasonably well. Stolen again, 2-on-1, and Albert's going to finish that one in his sleep. He scored 40 points out of 81 in the one game they lost. Block, Gill put it up. They're going to call goaltending and count it.
He got that coming off the glass. That's an easy call right there for the official.
Steve Schmidt doesn't like the call. He was really blistering the official coming back down the floor.
You know what? He might have an argument, actually, just after looking at the highlight right there.
Yeah, we have the benefit of that. Under 6 minutes. I'd say a guy like Steve Schmidt, if he's arguing that vociferously, he probably has a point. And that one is nailed by Marcus Johnson. He's been a hot hand from out there. Hit a couple from that area and was very close to nailing another one. Inside off of Gill. Mott ball again as they're starting to pick up the defense.
One of the things I think Owens, what they need to do, they have to get more into that secondary break. What they're doing is they're getting out in transition and they're hitting the guy leaking out in the corner. They're actually getting offensive rebounds off that. When they're running half-court sets, it doesn't appear to be working as well for them.
Fadden. And out for Marcus Johnson. Johnson trying to go one-on-one with Lindsay, but Lindsay did a great job with him, but it went off his foot.
That was good D.
He had him all befuddled, but really Johnson just got lucky there. Seven-point Mott lead. They could get to double digits on this possession. Going for it is Albert. That one's short. Rebound grabbed by Lindsay.
So let's take a look at this set right here. A lot of dribbling, a lot of standing. They have to get more movement.
Inside to Gill.
Oh, nice reverse pivot.
A good move there despite William Abbott's good defense, but missed. And Abbott pulled down the rebound, and just nothing is falling for Owens. It's just a bubble on that basket.
That's why you have to get to the line. When you're struggling like this, and leave
that
the
was
best
sweet.
player in the country open, that's not good either.
He hasn't started off really well, but he gets those kind of shots. He's going to find his rhythm.
Yeah, but like we talked about, he's one of the top guys in the country, and he's that for a reason. You have to know where he is. Wow, good D.
Yeah, steal there, and out for McFadden. Bachman coming back hard, and McFadden left it for Albert for the slam.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, it's a 12-point lead.
That was nice. That was highlight material right there.
30-second timeout again as Owens trailing by 12. Let's take a look here at this play. Transition.
Watch
the
this.
steal, first of all, and then neat pass back by McFadden, and an accent mark to punctuate the dunk.
That's just chemistry right there. Unselfishness right there by McFadden. You know, he had 2 points, obviously. One thing I noticed, too, looking at Albert, he's got some long arms because he picked that right out of the air. And he looks to me to be approximately maybe, I don't know, 6'2", somewhere in that area. But just kind of looking at his arms, he might have about a 6'6", 6'7" wingspan, which would be, you know, that's always an attribute as well that coaches are looking for. Now they're back in this 1-2-1-1 press.
Albert's up to 9 points to lead all scorers, and he hasn't really been as prominent as